So you create a new document. Unlike earlier that I designed from an original design from the template itself, now I'm creating a new document from scratch. Let's call this video tutorial. I make the size, let's keep the size like this, Full HD. And create. Then I place this import. I pick another label. Here I will say, let's see this. Place this here. Now what I want to do now is I'll first of all ungroup this so I can delete everything that is not needed. I don't need all of this. This is the only thing I can group this, Command G. So what I have in mind now is I want to put this in a circle, like an outline circle. So I draw a circle. I need to hold shift in order to make the circle perfect. In order to make the ellipse a perfect circle. This is an ellipse. So holding shift makes it a circle. And I change the color. Let's pick this one. Control back arrow. Control parenthesis. Yeah. This is what parenthesis is. Let me show you. This is parenthesis, not the normal bracket. Unlike the normal bracket, you use control parenthesis to page up and page down. I delete this. So I press control, page up, page down, page up, page down. So I take it to the back. Then I need to combine this first of all with the grouped already. And I centralize it with align, properties, align, and I centralize it. Center. In order for it to look centered optically, I will move it up a little bit. It's okay like this. And I group them. So what I want to do is I want to give this a gradient color. I want to make the gradient purple to magenta, or like fuchsia. Yeah, fuchsia. So it looks something beauty and wellness, something more dramatic. So I pick this, pick the gradient, make it go from bottom to top. Double click this, change the color. I pick this, come back here. Then I can now slide this color to get to what I want. Like this. Yeah. Then the bottom color. Then first of all pick this as a base color. Then from the base color I can adjust it. Let's see what this looks like. I'm still going to change the color of the icon to white. Change my I click V on my keyboard to switch to the move tool. This is the move tool, the tool we use to move, this one here. When you press V on your keyboard, if you're using any tool, for instance, let's say you're using gradient, for instance, and then you want to go back to your move tool, click on V. Notice the change here. Click on V, then it goes back to move tool. I can change this color to white. Now this is an icon already. Instead of this, I think I'd rather have, because it's looking too solid, I'd rather have the icon as colored one, while this would just be an outline. So I'm going to take the fill out, none. Now add a stroke to it. I add a black stroke to it first of all, to see what the stroke looks like. 10 is not bad. Yeah. Let's add a second stroke. So I Control C. If I hit Control C, it copies this. However, if I press Control V to paste it into the center of the screen. That's like the center of this entire screen itself. However, if I want to place it exactly on where it was copied from, I have to press Ctrl Shift and V. So it places it exactly there. Can you see? So instead of it pasting it in the center of the screen, it pastes it exactly where it was picked up from, which is here. So that way I can hold my Alt and Shift to reduce the size. We talked about this earlier, Alt and Shift. And I make this 5. Let me zoom in. Control plus is zoom in, Control minus is zoom out. This is good enough. Then what I want to do now is, this is an outline. An outline is like an outline. How do I describe an outline? This is the shape. The shape is a circle. Instead of the color being inside it as a fill, this is a fill. A fill will put color inside the shape, while a stroke will stroke the parts with color. So this stroke now is called an outline. This color that is on this stroke is called an outline, while this is the stroke. So what I want to do next is I want to convert this from being an outline to being an object. So it is no longer a stroke. You can interact with it as an object. What I will do is I'll come to path and outline the stroke. Once I click on this now, it is no longer an outline. Now it is a fill. It is a solid shape on its own. Can you see that? Let me undo. If I move this, we'll see that it is two different lines. That means this one is one. Just one line that has an outline on it. This one is a second line that also has an outline on it. However, if I should click on just this one now, and then I come to Object, Path, and Outline Stroke. Can you see? Now this single circle now is a double line indicating both lines of the stroke, while this second one is still single because it is single. So let me undo. Scratch that. Let me undo. Then I will change this one also to a stroke. The reason why I'm outlining the stroke is because I want to add a gradient to it, and you cannot add a gradient to a stroke. It needs to be a shape. So I click on both of them. I click I will switch to my eyedropper tool. Color picker, eyedropper, then same thing. If I press I, you can see the shortcut here also. Eyedropper tool, I. If I press I on my keyboard, change this to eyedropper tool. Anywhere I click on inside the artboard, this object selected will take the visual properties. So if there is transparency on that object, if there is color on it, if there is whatever visual properties on this object which I click will be applied to the selected object. So clicking I on my keyboard now activates the color picker. If I click on this here now, it will put the entire gradient on the circle. Do you see? Then I can press G and change the angle of the gradient. So this is an icon now, for instance. I group this, I reduce the size, then I can add text to it. Let's say this logo was for Abike Wellness, for instance. So I press Abike, I type Abike, enter it. Then I give it a font. What font should we use? Let's use Adka. Yeah, Adka is Adka nice. Yeah, not bad. So Abike, Control C, Control Shift and V to paste on the same place. Then when you're moving things around, hold your Shift. On your Mac, it's Shift. On your Windows, it is Control. Hold your Control or your Shift so it stays either on the vertical axis or on the horizontal axis. It can also be diagonal. So do you want it on the vertical, horizontal, or diagonal axis? I want it on the vertical axis. So Abike Wellness. Then I control enter. When you are done typing, you hit control and enter to commit your typing. Then I reduce the size of this wellness. Reduce this a little bit more. Come here, add some space, some letter space into it. 200 is not bad. Then I reduce this a little bit more also. I might want to zoom in, make sure it is exactly the same size with the E. Now it is exact. Then I move this down and I group both of them. Now that I have Abike wellness type, I can just. Now, when it comes to the final rendering, you don't want to make it too big or too small. You want to make your text a little bit big, but not, but you don't want to have something like this, for example. It's already too big, like you are no longer seeing this icon. This is the only thing you're seeing. This is overshadowing this icon. However, if I reduce the size a little bit, now they are kind of close to each other. Although the Abike is more legible, it is not overshadowing this icon completely. So I can put this a little bit by the side here, or it can be at the bottom. It looks better on the side. In expansion of a logo, I showed you how to expand the logo. So we have different formats of the logo. Now put this to the center. In order to put it to the center properly, I need to click on this. Click on this, group everything. It's good now. Group everything. I need my align. Sometimes you will see align under properties when you click on multiple items, but this is align on its own. And I can add a new rectangle. This is rectangle that will be taken color. What I can do now is I can click on all of this. If I hold shift, it will deselect this background for me. Then I can group this, then align it. It's balanced in the center now. I don't want this to have a gradient fill. I want it to be just white. So that's all for the Abike wellness logo. Very easy. Then, as usual, I save this Abike wellness. I save it as an AI file. Okay. Then at the same time, I come to export as PNG Abike wellness percent. Okay. Now that's that for the Abike logo. I can want to expand this. Shift O will give me my artboard too. This is it here. This screen is an artboard, a board where you put your art on top. So on this new Photoshop or Illustrator, you can use artboards to render multiple designs. So let's say I want to show the customer different versions of this same logo. I need to duplicate this artboard into multiple artboards and be changing the colors. What I need to do now is click on Alt, drag this. I'm holding Shift and Alt. What Alt does is it duplicates. So I hold my Alt. You can see that the mouse icon has changed. So I hold my Alt. First of all, I first hold the Alt. Then I click and drag. I don't leave the Alt until I have already dropped this. If I leave the Alt before dropping this, can you see the duplication icon lives there? So I hold on to the Alt, then I drop this. And also pick multiple artboards by clicking this first artboard, holding Shift, then clicking the second artboard. Remember, the artboard was selected here. And I hold Alt and duplicate again. What I want to do now is I want to have one version of the logo for colored background. This I change the gradient direction. I would like to have it round, just for sake of what I like. Or let me do it like this. I change the color of the text. I deselect this, change this to white, everything white. I can have a black version of the logo also. Remember, now that I want to make this black now, I need to isolate this. To isolate, I double click. Then I can select this and make it white. To exit isolation, I double click outside of the object that is isolated. And let's say I want to have a version where it is just the icon itself, no text. Just center this and I balance it. Now I have 4 versions of the same logo. Abike, Abike, Abike in 4 places. So in order to save this now, I go to export for screens. Now I can save each of all of this individually, and this is it here. I can also change the name. Let's say I want it to be named Abike Wellness Gradient. Then I want to have this Abike Wellness Black. And then I want to have this Abike Wellness icon. And I want to have this Abike Wellness Original. And then where am I saving to? It's going to my desktop. Boom, export. Now it is saved already. This is everything here. Can you see? And that's it. And that's for the Abike Wellness logo.